It's time to dad.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Time to Dad. I'm here tonight with JT, and Brad is back on the show. It's been a little bit of a hot minute since we've had you on an episode. I feel like guys should be used to that by now with our show. I mean, we're average dads just living life, man, and I don't put any pressure on anybody to be on the show. It's just a hop on when you got some availability and your schedule frees up. I know we usually try to record right after bedtime, and sometimes kids don't want to go to bed when you tell them to go to bed. Shit, my son was that little fucker last night. I put him to bed, and then I came out here to start working on the revamp of the logo and stuff like that, and I saw the Nest camera downstairs go off. So I look. And this motherfucker went downstairs, got his Nintendo Switch, took it up to his room. And so I went in the house, took a break from what I was doing. I went in the house and I took his Nintendo Switch and I explained to him, he knows he can't have electronics after bedtime or within an hour of bedtime. So I took it and I put that fucking thing up on the refrigerator. And little man's like 3.5 feet tall. And sure enough, this morning, my wife texted me at like 10:30, 11. It's like, he's still awake. And I was like, what the fuck? And I go and watch the video. I don't know how the hell he got up on top of the refrigerator and got that thing down. But that little asshole came downstairs at some point, got his Switch, and went back upstairs with it. He was still playing it at the ass crack of midnight.
Yeah. I feel like little kids, they can do ninja stuff super easy somehow.
So I did catch him. So we have a camera downstairs. So like if my wife's working, because she works from home on Fridays, we have a Nest Cam in the family room downstairs. So if she's working upstairs, she can pop in on him and make sure he's not throwing goo all over the place or some shit. But I went back and watched it because he did trigger the camera, and he had thrown, when he went back to see if I put it back on the charging base, he had thrown a blanket over his head and was crawling across the floor to try and not, because he knows the camera's down there, but trying not to be caught. And it wasn't there, so he threw the blanket off and ran back upstairs. But I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, You shouldn't be slinking around trying to hide stuff from us at 6 years old. But I mean, let the games begin. Anyway, sorry, I digressed there. But what's been going on in the Brad world?
Yeah, like you said, 3 kids keeps us busy for sure. We're in like full softball.
Yeah, I saw your post
now. Yeah, we've got 2 softball players now. My 7-year-old, she's been playing for a while. And my 5-year-old, this is her first time. And then we got a 2-year-old on top of that.
Nice.
Who the 2-year-old, for better or worse, right now, she's just going to be one of those ballpark kids. She's going to be running around
playing in mud puddles and shit.
Somewhere. Yeah, we lose her for 2 or 3 hours, and then somebody brings her back to us. But we're staying busy with that. My kids, they love it. I definitely try not to be like that middle-aged man that gets way too into youth sports, but it gets tough sometimes when your kids start playing and getting into it. But so I help coach when I can. But yeah, kids have been keeping us busy. And then on top of that, I recently was able to kind of make a decision that I've known for a long time that I wanted to do something serving within the veteran community. I don't know how many people know, but obviously, I'm a Marine veteran. So I am transitioning out of the insurance industry, and I have no idea what it is, maybe a nonprofit, something along those lines that I want to serve within the veteran community. So I went back to school and been looking at a few different things.
Dude,
so,
hit your boy Alex up, man. He's been he's been on the struggle bus trying to find his place in civilian society, and he's been talking about that a lot, trying to find a way to get back to the veteran community, and he's just been struggling with it. But I feel like if you guys brainstorm,
How long?
yeah, he'd
No,
at
for
least
sure.
at least appreciate
Right.
chatting with you about it because he's been trying to figure out the same thing.
I think JT can obviously speak
Yeah.
to this as well, but there's so many resources out there for veterans, but either one, people just don't want to reach out there and figure out the resources that are out there, or some of the resources, whether it be through the VA or any of the other federal agencies, can be super confusing to get through. So
there's a lot of
that's
red
kind
tape.
of there is a lot of bureaucratic red tape for sure. But I guess all that stuff's changing as Doge comes in and starts cutting everything. So we'll see what the outcome from that is. But yeah, so that's the path that has kind of kept me the most busy recently.
Nice. So you're looking to do like a nonprofit 501c3 type thing, or?
Yeah, so I'm looking at incorporating as a 501c3, and kind of exploring the tax options for that, what makes the most sense. And again, I have no idea really even what direction that it's going to go. But my thought process is I've known that I wanted to do this for a couple years, and I've got a core group of veterans that I work with now. And so if we start brainstorming and putting things together, then ultimately, hopefully, it just grows organically from there.
Let me know if you need some assistance. I'm the I'm a volunteer firefighter. I'm a treasurer, so I tend to a lot of the 501c3 things. As for a volunteer fire department nonprofit. So yeah. I mean, and I'm a veteran. So if you need some assistance somewhere, I'll be more than happy to assist. I can also kind of put you in contact with my brother-in-law. He lives there in Georgia as well. He's a Marine, and he's also been trying to get something going on for veterans, as far as the transition itself from, active duty and back into civies and everything like that. And so he's been prospecting that around, kind of throwing some stuff, and I think he's also kind of doing some software development or something. So maybe I can put you in contact with him. He's a pretty good dude.
Yeah, we can definitely talk online, and I think it really transitions easily to like Time to Dad, just because there's so many of us that are in the same, like when we were in the time period, all of us are out now, unless you're doing 30 years, and most of us have kids, and most of us are, trying to raise those kids. And so the struggle is definitely there for the veterans as well, as far as trying to balance not only the civilian world, your military background, but kids on top of that. So that's kind of the idea. But yeah, kids have been keeping us most busy for sure.
Dude, I love having you guys on here. When you talk about that shit, I just sit back and be quiet because I know that's a tough life. But I also know there's a shit ton of dads out there that I see a lot of posts from military dads asking questions, and I can't answer it. So I'm glad to have guys like you on the show that can kind of talk to that side of life and what that looks like from your point of view, because I don't know shit about it. But always willing to support the troops. I feel like I don't do it enough. But yeah, man, anything we can do to help out the troops, I fully support. So good luck to you, man. And I hope you get it sorted out and figure it out and it works well for you, man.
Yeah. Well, once we get the direction that we're going, like for sure, we'll, kind of put it out there and let everybody kind of see. We'll talk about it on here or wherever. Nice. So looking forward to it.
Well,
you mentioned Doge.
That leaves us only one direction, man. I don't know what the hell's going on. I watched what was it? His address to the House the other day, or it was the Senate. Dude, I'm like, I don't know what's going on with people. It's still like this giant it really depends. Are you watching and reading Fox News? Are you reading the Washington Post? Is the New York Times your go-to? I mean, it's all over the place as far as the point of views of these articles, and I've read articles from both sides where shit is just outlandishly incorrect or manipulated to make you look at something that it takes you down these rabbit holes where they're not even fucking talking about what the headline of the article says anymore. And it just hurts my fucking head, man. And when he won the first time, I'd comment on everybody's post. I didn't give a fuck. Family, friend, people I don't know, I didn't give a shit. But this go around, I just kind of sit back and eat my popcorn. And my brother-in-law posts a lot of stuff.
The comment.
And my aunt. And every now and again, I'll give him a little jab just to be like, the fuck. But I try to stay out of it now, man. But I don't know. I need to do. I think everyone needs to do a fucking better job about educating themselves and all these bills and laws and Doge and exactly what's happening. Because one news outlet will tell you, oh, they just laid off half the people in this organization or governmental department. And then you'll go somewhere else and find the actual non-biased data where, no, actually, we fired these people that were just sitting on their hands, not doing shit. But me personally, that's my goal, is to look more into it before I kind of draw an opinion, which I've done it on some things and some things I haven't. But I mean, the two biggest things they've been doing that are near and dear to me, I just heard there's going to be some cuts that have to do with the VA, which we were just talking about. And I'd like to think that's clerical people that are just kind of in the background getting paid to push paper and not really providing any value to the VA system and what it stands for. But then the other thing is obviously education. And I know he's, currently putting a hard eye on the Department of Education, and news media makes it sound all doom and gloom, like he's going to, demolish the Department of Education. It's going to be no more. Schools are going to start. And I haven't researched that enough. My hope is that, again, so I'll give you an example. So my son's school is backed by a federal program that provides breakfast and lunch for every kid in the school. Before this school year started, his kindergarten year, I was fully prepared. Like, I downloaded the school lunch app. I'm trying to figure out how to load my card to get money in his account. I'm looking at school lunch prices, and I got a thing in the mail that basically said, because of the federal whatever it is grant, that every kid in the school is provided breakfast and lunch. And I was like, all right, cool. But when I start hearing about Elon and Trump looking into the Department of Education, the areas where they're trimming fat, I hope is something like that. Because my wife and we're fucking middle class, but I feel like we're way above the level where you should be providing a breakfast and lunch for my child. And it just blankets the whole school, right? Anybody. And we are more than capable of feeding him at home and sending him to school with the lunch. And so I hope that's the kind of things they're looking at is how do we reallocate funds and what people do we have that are doing redundant tasks that we don't need, or just chilling in the office all day. But it's hard to say.
90% of that would be within the Department of Education. I mean, they're examining the curriculums that are being pushed. They're identifying multiple sources of problems, and there are some things that are attributed to fraud, but that doesn't necessarily prove to be the case with all of the instances. It's just simply overlooked and neglected. Back to the VA, bro. You mentioned the VA. Me personally, I believe the entire VA needs to be restructured. If you want to know how, back whenever Obama and everybody was talking about socialized medicine, you want to know why I know it'll fail? Because we already have an existing form of socialized medicine that is the VA.
Government run healthcare.
It is a disgusting way of dealing with veterans. And if you got any experience with the VA, I can.
I have not heard.
Yeah, you got TRICARE for life, which is great, everything like that. But the VA itself, I guarantee you, more than one occasion, you've had a bad taste in your mouth about the VA.
Oh, for sure.
You can't, no doctors can suffer consequence for malpractice or neglect, whatever the case may be.
Wow, is that true? That's fucking wild. Damn.
They have a tenure.
So if you go in for surgery and they cut the wrong hand off, you're just sorry about it.
They're struggling to get good doctors in there.
Well, dude, that's a whole nother thing. I read a fucking wild article that a surgeon wrote about the quality of graduates from like Ivy League schools for healthcare and the level of education that they're coming into the healthcare field with. And he was like, man, within the next 5 or 10 years, we're fucked. Because, I mean, kids aren't, let's face it, the education is nowhere near the same as when we went to school, right? There's a lot more just bullshit filler stuff. There's a lot more teaching to exact criteria to compete for those federal grants, right? Because there's criteria for what you're teaching your kids and what score levels are on certain tests. I kind of wish Nick had been on this because his I'm sure him and his wife talk about this stuff a lot. But what are you gonna? I don't know.
Well, they've laxed the standards in education so much, so they've really taken this "No Child Left Behind" policy to a gross degree, where you have a child that performs poorly within a grade, but no matter what, they're not going to get left behind. So while they were not prepared enough to deal with the
made me retake that mofo. I had to take PE in summer school, so I'd have an extra credit because my senior year I could have taken trig, but I didn't because I had to retake algebra 2, and so I had to take an elective in summer school so that I could free up that extra credit to retake algebra 2. And they were like, "Fuck you, you're gonna learn or not learn."
Right.
But yeah, now, man, it's like, it's handouts, dude, and it's. I get the compassion from teachers to kind of nudge kids along and help them squeak by, but it really is. I mean, there's multiple. It's not just healthcare. There's multiple articles about the level of education nowadays. That's a pandemic in and of itself.
Well, you got to think people's memory retention has decreased because we no longer have to memorize information in a book when we have it so readily available on a cell phone.
Yeah.
I mean, schools are implementing electronic devices, tablets, laptops. They're implementing that stuff throughout education everywhere. So a child no longer needs to really retain said information except for a day or two to cram and then take a test. The memory retention has decreased horribly. Nobody, and it boils down to simple things. Back in the day, you had to have a Rolodex memorized in your freaking brain if you wanted to make a phone call, or you actually had to literally have a Rolodex.
Yeah, dude. I don't know anybody's number, man.
Nobody even knows their own phone numbers. You know what I'm saying? That's wild. That's the crazy thing. So,
as somebody who at
you're back in school,
almost. I went back to school, and I went to school right out of high school after the Marine Corps, and then 15 years later, I'm back in school again. And everybody uses ChatGPT for everything.
Everything.
I mean,
because it's
honestly, why not?
Yeah,
I use it to write business emails.
Yep.
I mean, it's a good tool to use.
It's
a tool though. But exactly. these kids use it as a substitute for actual learning.
It's going to be a part of our world moving forward. So the same way that the internet 30 years ago, you know, you were like, holy shit, I've got a whole wealth of information that I can, you know, now back then it was like, all right, I download something, wait 20 hours to get Sports Illustrated to pop up. But it's going to be a tool moving forward. So people got to get used to using it.
Yeah, well, so my company doesn't use ChatGPT, but on one of the projects I'm on, one of the project managers was kind of a lead. This was before the acquisition, but he's still carrying it on as part of the new company. But Teams has a built-in AI, and when we have our weekly coordination calls for the internal team, he'll turn it on, and at the end of the meeting, within like 5 minutes, he will send out meeting minutes. And I mean, it summarizes who said what. It'll give you a 3-minute, quick read, not even 3 minutes if you want. It'll break down every key point. It's fucking wild how accurate it is.
It'll give you a full chat transcript. It'll give you a full transcript of what everybody said and at what minute and what counter within the video or the call that specific thing was said.
And it paraphrases ridiculously well. Ridiculously well. And when we're talking, I mean, you've seen AI, I'm sure you guys have used it, and some of them are better than others, but the fact that it can take a engineering conversation that's fairly high level and simplify it into something we can just shit out to a client who knows nothing about what we do but can understand it, it's wild. And I fully support AI being used as a tool like that. I do not support AI kind of holistically replacking humans in the workforce. It's just not there. And that's not to say it won't be within the next probably 4 years or so. I'm sure you'll see jobs lost to AI. They already have robots serving food in restaurants. They have robots cleaning. I don't know if you guys have a BJ's near you, but there's a robot that goes around checking aisles for spills and broken shit and stuff. It's crazy, man.
I take that back. So in Walmart nowadays, they have robotic freaking floor scrubbers and stuff like that. I mean,
it just drives itself around. And it's like a fucking Roomba.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back in the day. I mean, that was job security for somebody. That was a 9-mile walk that nobody else wanted to do. I worked overnight maintenance, and I'd do a 9-mile walk around the store on the scrubber, and then have to hit the floor buffer and everything like that. Nowadays, they just got a robot to do it. So somebody's not getting, not making money there. Yeah. But I don't believe AI should be used in an education setting. To be truthful.
Dude, one day kids will be taught by a fucking robot on the screen, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, most likely, and I liken it, I guess, to again, it's going to be a tool moving forward. So I think we, as a culture, society, will adapt with it the same way that when the Ford company started doing the production line, right? When they had people doing that stuff, that took away jobs from some people, but ultimately people will expand into other markets and do different things. So I think it is going to be something that we all have to just get used to and then kind of figure out how to work with it. But
there's some people going to get left behind, man. Depending how quickly it moves, it's gonna the older tier of current workforce is going to get left behind.
Well, I mean,
people that are 50 plus now already struggle with technology. So
you talk about that, and then you talk about the cuts before. Elon is now saying he wants to eliminate phone services from Social Security, right? And the problem with that is that he wants to do everything online. So you talk about
should fucking be online. We do so much in the U.S. that's either federally or on a state level. You have to go through mail or you have to fucking call somebody. It's like fucking building a wheel for the first fucking time. We were so far behind. It's crazy.
But that's, you talk about Social Security, and all those people are 70 plus years old, right? And I see both sides of these arguments, but people that are 70 plus, they have no idea how to do anything online. But we are going to have to start transitioning to people doing, that stuff online. I don't know if the 75-year-old is the place to start and just cutting off.
I know some older people that know their way around a computer and all that shit. But yeah, you're right. There's a greater portion that would just be lost if they don't have kids that are still supporting them and helping them. Yeah, they'd be screwed.
Well, I mean, that's only one thing, but I mean, if we want to talk about, general industries, I mean, just as technology has developed, I mean, think about it. Remember Blockbuster be a huge thing. We're talking about just, streaming readily available, I mean, you got to think movie theaters lost billions of dollars during COVID whenever they started, putting new box office hits just available on streaming and everything like that. So I mean, there's a lot of industries currently in danger of being phased out.
Movie theaters are going to be replaced by VR headsets. Mark my words. You're going to pay a subscription to Regal, or you're going to pay per view, but it's all going to be VR based, and you're going to have like an Oculus system or something to watch the movie. But you can't. I mean, it's a dying thing. It's nostalgic right now for people. They want to take their kid to their first, but it'll go away. Just like the Blockbusters died. It's just going to go away.
Movie galleries and everything like that. Yeah, it's a thing.
Everything's got to be digital. If it's not digital, it just moves too slow for modern day society. I mean, the post office is suffering. They've been suffering since email and text messaging was created.
It's obsolete.
I don't know how the fuck they've held on so long, but it's just outdated technology, and I mean, I don't know. You just got to move forward with it, and I think people our age are in a good position because we were half and half, right? Like part of our life was logging into Windows with a C prompt, and then we had AOL and dial up, and now we're with modern technology, but we still grew up around electronics and computers, so we know enough to be dangerous at a minimum. And then it's kind of up to you to keep up with technology, right? But it's a scary world, man. I don't know what to think about.
If you don't mind my, bringing this up, we're kind of going, juggling back in between education. It's a horrible discovery that many schools don't even teach cursive handwriting.
Yeah, some are bringing it back. I saw some are bringing it back.
Yeah, there are still a few schools around here trying to hold on to it, but to me that's detrimental to kids. I mean, personally, if you can't read the founding documents of our country in the original text, that's
the big argument that a lot of people have that are trying to bring it back, is they're like, man, everything that our country was built on was written in cursive. And even if you learn cursive, half the shit you can't read. So I'm like, I kind of agree, but I kind of don't agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like any other language. It's part of the English language.
Right.
I feel like it's part of the fundamental.
My biggest concern with technology being in its current state is before long, handwriting will be obsolete as well. I'm sorry. I was talking about this with my dad. The written word is a dying thing. Back in the day when snail mail was still at its peak, people were excited about receiving a letter in the mail or something like that. Nowadays, it's a text. Hell, even email is a thing of the past for the most part.
When my dad passed away, my mom gave me a box of a bunch of letters, and some of them were letters that her dad wrote to her mom during the World Wars, and some of them were ones that my dad's dad wrote to his wife. And it's super special to me because nobody writes fucking letters anymore. And every now and again, I'll pull one out and read through it. But yeah, you don't see that, dude. So when my mom gave that, she's like, "You want these?" Like, I don't know. And I was like, "Hell yeah, I want them." I mean, not only does it document what they went through, but it's just, you'll never see that again. You will never be able to like pass something like that down again that is from modern times, because it doesn't exist. People will just, they'll give you access to, an email account. But there's never, you'll never have a handwritten letter. I don't know anybody that still handwrites letters.
We make our, not make, but I guess we kind of do, but our kids, and I had to do it and I hated it, but now I'm glad that I did it. Like after Christmas or birthdays, a 7-year-old has to write out thank you notes and she'll send those out. And then for the 5-year-old, we'll transcribe it for her. But it's something that I had to do that I'm glad that I did, because you're right. Like, you can hold on to a note that somebody gives you. I still have a ton of letters that I got in Afghanistan that, you wouldn't have it otherwise. But that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, we got to evolve, but do it in the right way.
Dude.
You can't just completely get rid of old things.
Wild AI story. You can now scan a cursive letter and it will convert it to like a Word document. Yeah. In any fucking language you want too, mind you.
Yeah.
I thought this was kind of funny, just talking about the cursive thing. I saw, obviously we're gearing up for baseball season, but all these teams do stuff with players walking into the clubhouse or whatever. And for the Yankees, they tried to get the Yankees players to write Yankees in cursive, and nobody could do it.
Oh, but I think maybe one
kind of Yankees. But
who else is cursive? The Nationals, the Mets are semi-cursive, I think. I'm trying to think if anyone else is.
Maybe.
Braves? No, Braves ain't.
Orioles.
Well, the Braves kind of are. I think most of the teams are.
Yeah, they're kind of scripty. Yeah.
It's just fancy writing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no.
But it's not block letters.
Right.
It does make me sad to hear that dying out, because, even myself, when I was younger and I was actually writing, my handwriting, it was nice.
My handwriting, shit.
And now that all I do is type at a computer every day, or, communicate with a cell phone, my handwriting is shit.
Yeah.
It looks like a damn doctor scribbled on a damn notepad.
I still take hand notes in some meetings. Like if I don't have to have my camera on and I'm just taking notes, I still take a notes on a notepad. And then when I need to upload it and save it, I'll just fucking take a picture of the notes on my notepad and upload it to our project folder, and then I've got it there. But
I've got this Amazon Kindle Scribe. It's something that you can write on as well as read and everything like that.
Oh.
It's cool. I can write in cursive and
it converts it.
It converts everything, and it can convert everything into text, but I can email.
That's pretty sweet.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty nifty. It'll transcribe it into a different language.
That's what's up. I think that's going to be the biggest thing, and it already has been, is you like Google Translate and things like that. As that becomes more prevalent, I mean, you can already do it with a Google phone, where you just
like
you can have a conversation with somebody 20 worlds away that you don't speak a lick of their language, and you don't need a translator. It's pretty sweet, but it's scary. It scares me a little bit.
Well, you gotta think about how many things were intended for good that wound up being a tool for something gross and evil. So,
somebody has to teach these things what they need to learn and what their database is, and all it takes is one bad actor to start screwing with shit.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look, I mean, I guarantee you the military is light years ahead on AI and how they can use it. and that's all that. What was that? What was that fucking movie with Will Smith, iRobot? Yeah. Where they had the one rogue fucking robot that went batshit crazy. Like, dude, it just scares me.
Yeah. But no, man, it's wild because there's a bunch of instances where AI, I know you've heard about the AI that embedded itself into something else to keep itself from being deleted or created like a newer version of itself. I can't remember exactly where
I wish I knew the damn. I always give my wife shit for watching these weird ass fucking movies, and it was a movie where, I don't know how old it was. It's got to be recent, but it was basically like there was a company that built companion robots, and it turned into this whole like murder thing because the guy. The robot was too nice to him. Like, it wasn't like dating a natural female where you have like natural tiffs and arguments and shit. And so he turned up the aggression level on this AI robot, and she murked the fuck out of somebody that didn't know she was a robot and tried to take advantage of her. And it just turned into this whole movie about how once you gave the AI a little bit of wiggle room to start thinking for themselves, that they were entirely able to manipulate their own programming. I'll have to look it up because it was kind of cool.
There have been
still fucking weird as shit.
That happening.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you think about how you code data like that AI learns from, and it has to be evolving, right? So there's constantly somebody feeding new or updated information. And dude, one wrong decimal point, or it happens all the time by humans. Somebody put the decimal point in the wrong place. All of a sudden, we're giving $20 billion to some country for God knows what. I feel like it's even easier in the coding world to screw something like that up.
Oh yeah. Errors are everywhere in coding. And all it's got to do is find a hole in programming, and then it can do that.
One little exception.
And to take it one step further is, AI, assuming that you have someone with genuine moral principles doing the programming behind the AI.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. One bad actor, man, spoiled the entire bunch.
Yeah. So, and
hacking,
it's a tool.
Hacking, it doesn't even have to be someone internally. It could be someone externally that makes their way into whatever learning or training system you have for the AI that starts planting seeds of malicious intent and all the coding and learning. And you would be unaware unless you have a team that catches that threat.
Yeah. Well, I took a coding class. Like, I went back to school and I took a coding and trying to learn how to write code and stuff. And I will say AI is the only reason I passed that class. So that's not my brain, but I was like, hey, ChatGPT, write me a program that does this and put my name in it. So
nice.
Oh man,
I needed that in my C+ class because I almost failed that.
Yeah, I haven't done a C++ class.
Well, the shit of it is, I was doing a Cuddle program with a community college and VCU, which is a local college here in Richmond. And I was told for electrical engineering that I had to take that course to be able to transfer my credits. Well, I took the course, went down to VCU the next semester. Oh no, that we don't transfer that course anymore. Yeah. So I took a course. I think I ended up with like I can't remember if it was a super low B or a mid-level C, but I did really shitty in it to my standards, and then I found out I don't even get credit for it. So it's whatever. But Brad, what are you studying, Brad? Are you just general ed right now, or you got a plan of attack?
Like I said, at this point I've done so much school. Like, I went to I went to college right out of high school. I was going to go like the ROTC route. I was going to go and be an officer, and I did a really good job of partying when I was 18, 19 years old. So then I ended up enlisting from there, but I've done like 10 years of college at this point.
Yeah.
But
you have a degree or you haven't finished it?
So I was, by the time I finished, or not finished, but the time I stopped going to school last time, I was like 20 credit hours away from just my bachelor's in professional sales. And then I got out and I started working in the insurance industry and kind of went through the gauntlet on sales. But so I went back, kind of like you were saying, credits don't transfer now. I had to retake a whole bunch of accounting classes, business law classes.
Did you have to redo those damn placement tests?
No placement tests, but apparently,
Lord.
Go
ahead.
Well, there's just a 10-year time period on if you learned accounting, financial managerial, whatever, 10 years ago, you got to relearn it. So I had to retake that stuff.
Yeah. So
excuse me. No.
Yeah, I was gonna say I took a huge break between graduating and when I went to UNC, and then I got my DUI like a fucking idiot at 18, and so I only did 1 year at UNC, and I took a break, and then I went back to local community college here, and even just that short break of I think I took about 3 years off and worked my way into management with Starbucks. But I had to retake all the entrance, math, English, all that shit. Which math like flies out of your head like it's going out of style. So, but I had to retake the test, and then I had to argue with them about what level of math I should be at, and because I wasn't trying to retake a bunch of shit I already had credit for on paper.
Right.
It's a big old pain in the ass.
Even now, like I have advisors look at my stuff and they're like, you have like 155 credit hours right now. And it only requires 120, 125 to get your bachelor's degree. They're like, you should have been done with this. But I've been to so many different schools.
Yeah.
Done so many
bitch of it, man.
Yeah, I'm like a 15-year senior at this point in time.
I had to argue for like 4 years with the community college to get every school makes you take like an intro to college course, right? It took me forever to get them to accept, because I'm not going to pay again to take a course as dumb as intro to college. They didn't want to accept that. They didn't want to accept the physical education course credits that I had. So I had to argue with it, and they were like, well, we don't offer. I took fucking volleyball as one of the physical education electives at UNC. But they were like, well, we don't offer volleyball, so we can't transfer that. And I was like, what the fuck does it matter? It's physical education. So they wanted me to retake, and eventually I just said, fuck it. And I just went into the engineering career field, and I haven't looked back. And I won't go back at this point. In my career field, it's pointless at the level I'm at to go back. I'd be throwing money away and spending less time with my family. But I totally get the guys that are grinding, and there's a lot of guys in kind of the blue collar line of work that are trying to go back to school, and I don't know what the fuck to tell them. I felt awkward as fuck when I took 4 years off. I felt like the old fogey in the room kind of thing.
But that was like the whole reason for me, like I talked about before, I kind of transitioning out of the insurance industry. I've owned insurance agencies for the last couple of years, but I kind of knew I wanted to do something within the veteran community.
Yeah.
And my GI Bill is expiring. So having the GI Bill where they pay me to go back to school made it easy to say, okay, I can supplement a little bit of income and go back to school and kind of figure out what I want to do from there.
You could always give USAA a run for their money.
Oh man, I could talk for days about USAA, and not in a good way.
Oh shit! I just joined Navy Federal with my wife. Well, she was already under it because her brother's in the Navy, and so I I was with a little local podunk kind of credit union here, and they've been pissing me off for years, and I finally said I'm gonna get the fuck out of there and take my money with me, and I joined Navy Federal, and they've been all right so far.
Got that,
but I don't know. My fucking bank, you can't. They kept calling me saying I had a missed car payment, and so I called them within the next 3 days after they left me that voicemail. I probably called them 4 or 5 times. Couldn't get a hold of a fucking person. They're just so far behind the times, and I was like, you know what? I got to get my fucking money out of here. So,
yeah.
But I don't know shit about USAA, but Navy Federal, I've heard good things about.
Every institution has
worked in the insurance industry.
Every institution has their downfalls. You know, USA. My wife, she'll tell you she doesn't really have too many complaints about USA. She's had USA through her dad. You know, but I would say in lieu of the insurance aspect of it all, you could give them a run for their money. I mean, helping veterans finding better ways to find coverage for their families. I mean, you could use that as a tool. I mean, you've already got it there at your disposal. So it's a thought.
Absolutely. Like I said, we'll talk offline.
Absolutely.
In other words, shut the fuck up. You're sharing all my secrets.
Don't give business ideas.
That's funny. All right. Cool, guys. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Brad, awesome to have you on this show, man. I'm glad you're looking into doing some stuff with veterans. As always, I totally support that, man. So best of luck to you again. We didn't go as deep into politics as I thought we were, so I'm not going to apologize about that. Fuck y'all if you didn't like that 20-minute section where we talked about it. Maybe not even that long.
I don't think we made it 10.
But anyway, hopefully in the near future, we're going to do a slight revamp to the show. I've been working on some logo stuff. We've been working on some logistical stuff in the background, kind of trying to bring some more stuff to you guys as far as content and how we deliver it. But come hang out with us in the Facebook group and stay tuned for those updates. And we'll catch you on the next episode. See ya.
Have a good evening.